Hello, listeners. It is my pleasure to welcome you to the latest episode of the eCom Pulse podcast. Let me introduce our guest today, Betsy Mello, Senior Vice President of E-commerce at Durel Home, a leading furniture manufacturer in North America. With over 20 years of experience in the retail industry, Betsy shares her extensive knowledge and insights, drawing from her work with iconic brands like Gap, Old Navy, Levi's, and now Durel Home. Betsy shares with us the evolution of the furniture industry, particularly the significant shift towards e-commerce accelerated by the COVID-19 pandemic. We explore the challenges and opportunities in the market, emphasizing the importance of innovation, supply chain optimization, and maintaining profitability. Betsy also highlights the role of storytelling and brand building in creating cohesive omnichannel strategy and the impact of AI on the future of retail and e-commerce. Whether you're an industry veteran or new to the world of e-commerce, this episode offers best practices and insights into the current trends and future directions of the retail and furniture market. You're welcome to sit back, relax, and listen to my conversation with Betsy Mello. Welcome to the eCom Pulse, your heartbeat to the world of e-commerce. I'm your host, Eitan Kotter. Join us as we meet with industry leaders, marketing experts, and the innovative minds behind the tech that is shaping the e-commerce future. So plug in, gear up, and get ready for a pulse-pounding journey into the heart of e-commerce. Hi, Betsy. How are you?
Hello, I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you again for your time. It's really a pleasure to have you here. I know that you've been in the industry for 20 plus years. Mm-hmm. I love the audience to know you better. I think this is where we need to start. Why don't you share with us about who you are, your expertise, and your background, and we can take it from there.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for having me. Excited to be here. Yes, 20 plus years of experience in retail, still going at it. It's no joke.
Passionate. Yeah.
It is not for the weak. Yes, but it's really fun. So I've been really lucky. I've been with some great brands, grew up over at Gap Inc. at Old Navy, as well as some great time over at Levi's. So amazing, American iconic brands. Where I am today, I've moved over to the furniture space in e-commerce. So I work for Durel Home and I run some of our top e-commerce accounts, including Amazon, Bed Bath & Beyond, some of our D2C players, and have been there for about 7 years now.
Wow. I mean, Durel is really huge. It's like a big company, right? Billions of dollars in furniture.
Oh, yeah. We have been around for decades. We are a furniture manufacturer, one of the largest in North America. We service and sell to, customers across the board, from small stores to big box retailers. So Walmart, Target, Wayfair, Amazon, you'll find us everywhere. We have a great portfolio of brands, from private label for each of the retailers to some national licensed brands. For example, one of our strongest brands is Novogratz brands, Cosmo Living, Little Seeds, Mr. Kate. And we've been really lucky. We have amazing product, very affordable, very focused on the consumer, and looking for those consumers either in college for their dorm room who need a futon, or for their first apartment where they're looking for affordable small space, but very on trend pieces. That's really our sweet spot.
Yeah. What can you share about the industry itself? Because I know most of it is obviously trending offline. Obviously, COVID has a huge impact of transforming this industry. Where we are in 2024 with the furniture industry in the US.
Absolutely. It's, it has been a ride the past few years. We'll put it that way. Obviously it's mostly, to your point, an in-store experience has traditionally been, but e-commerce has really seen some great strides in the past 10 years, particularly at Amazon with Prime and Durel product having such a great distribution throughout so many different retailers. It made it a natural to grow on Amazon quickly. As consumers would be in stores, want to look the product up, they'd say, oh, well, I have Prime, it's free delivery. Let's just that seems so much easier than picking up a futon in store. So, that was kind of how our business grew. But obviously when COVID hit, really shifted the consumer's behavior and accelerated a lot of retailers pushing their e-commerce channel out of necessity. And so I think the furniture industry was one of those that felt the biggest jump right away as consumers were looking for desks. They were looking to redo their backyards, spending all this time at home. But it also, obviously, with the supply chain issues we had following, it led to a lot of, challenges from a price perspective. It pulled people buying up product, from that normal timeline they would. So say you were due for a new mattress in the next few years. Well, considering the fact that you were at home all the time, you might have pulled that purchase up. So it really wasn't just an ad. It was a trade-off or a pull-up. And so it's led, the past couple years since COVID being a little difficult. So a lot of inventory out in the market, a lot of sales, which is great for the consumer, but for suppliers, manufacturers, and retailers, it's really been an inventory game. Yeah. And I do think that we're now to the point where it's balanced out a bit more, and there is a lot more competition, particularly in the opening price point space. But consumers are always going to be looking for new product, looking for something that's on trend, and that's really where we're focusing now: is what can we give that consumer above the basic, piece of furniture that they're just buying that they've always seen around. They're looking for something new now. They're looking for an update. Even if they bought a desk a few years ago, we're finding that they're looking, for something a little bigger now and something a little more solid and permanent versus what they might have bought 3 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very interesting. So your role, you are SVP of e-commerce sales. So what's Correct. Your role? What are your main KPIs and what are the, your targets?
So I oversee, the biggest account I oversee is our Amazon account. So we partner with them on first party. We're one of their top vendors, and I oversee that along with the Bed Bath and Beyond account and then some of our D2C accounts. And really what I do is I'm in charge of the relationships between our retailers and Durel and driving our business, our KPIs from all of our marketing to our forecasting, supply chain, operations in our warehouses. We're really seeing the overall account from soup to nuts. So how we execute on a daily basis through promotions, through search, all the way to what are the products that we're bringing in the next 6-9 months to a year, and what's our total brand story, what's our portfolio looking like, who are the consumers we're going after, where are the white spaces in the market, who are the competitors out there. So we're really overseeing the entire business.
Yes. And obviously there are various, let's say, customers or markets, segments that you target, right? You mentioned First P on Amazon as a wholesaler, but obviously,
yes.
So that's maybe, let's go with wholesaling or more of a B2B type of strategy. And you mentioned other marketplaces as well. So yes. Can you give us more information about the various, B2B, D2C type of, initiatives that you have?
Yeah. So for us right now, it's really a big focus for us across the board is giving the consumer newness and giving our retailers newness. There was definitely a challenge during COVID when container prices were really high. Yeah. Developing new product just didn't make a lot of sense. It would cost so much to bring in a new sofa that you can only fit 10 in a container. The cost that you would have to put on these, to take a $3,000 increase in just what the container cost didn't make any sense. So there was definitely a break, at least for us. And we also saw this in the market with competitors on a slowdown of innovation. And so for us, that's a big focus for us right now is getting back that innovation, giving the consumer, updated products, functions, functionality, colorways, all kinds of new finishes, anything you can think about. That's what we're trying to offer at this point. Because we do feel like there was a bit of a lag there just across the board for the market. And the things that we've introduced have gotten really great reception from our consumer and our retailers. So that's the biggest thing that we're focusing on, particularly in our wholesale and first party relationships. The other piece is ensuring we're profitable. And so making sure that our retailers are profitable, because obviously when you had cost increases and we've seen, prices in the market jump out there for all consumers, everyone's price sensitive right now. It's very important to ensure that we're giving high quality but high value product to consumer that they can afford and that makes sense for where they are in their life stage.
Yes. And you mentioned profitability obviously is a hot topic for everyone these days,
Very.
Right? And cost of acquisition is going high, ROAS are not as they used to be. And you mentioned some of the private labels that you do as well. Do you see any change, obviously, in profitability for your products? Some of the things that maybe worked in the past, but let's say you need to be more creative today to to try to promote them and sell them. Any changes that you see in terms of product
Yeah, I
offerings?
mean, we're really working with our retail partners closer. And that's the biggest thing is having these conversations, understanding where the challenges lie, because we don't always have full visibility to that. And, things from just on what carriers are being chosen, particularly for items that are really big for us. So we have some items that come in multi boxes. You may get a sofa and that's not going to come in one UPSable box. So, depending on where you're shipping it and how far you're shipping it across the country, that can really affect profitability. So we're trying to work with our retailers to make sure, that we're putting them in the right warehouses, forecasting that to the right place, and, identifying challenges as soon as they hit to figure out how we can change it before we get too far down the road of unprofitability.
Yes. And obviously sales is like this end result, right? We all want sales, but it starts really early, right? And probably it starts with brand building, with storytelling. And I know this is, a very, an area that your expertise lies. So what's your process or methodology around brand building and storytelling?
Love this question. So I'm very passionate about storytelling. That I think is the main, one of the favorite things that I've learned and my favorite skill across where I've been with all retailers. So, really starting at Old Navy, talking about the product and how you're surprising and delighting the consumer, and moving into Levi's with such an iconic American brand. It's just so, our history there was so great. Our legacy, it's just something that you can't replicate easily with other brands. So it was really important for us to storytell and why these things are important. And some of the, we were one of the first in sustainability from a fabric perspective, and explaining how we're integrating that into new product and into our fabrications. And so I really learned that there. And you can do that a lot easier in store with signage when you have an associate there that's able to talk to the consumer and engage them and explain to them why this is different, why this is unique, why this product is special. When you move to e-commerce, it's a bit of a different story, because once you have them there, you can tell the story. And it's really important that you have your content updated and you have the things at top of fold and the right keywords for the consumer who's searching. But when it's a browsing experience, it's a little different. And we all know, it's very different if you go to a D2C player versus someone like Amazon, where there's just millions and millions of products to search. How do you look? How do you have your discoverability be in a place where your consumer can find it and be excited? And there's a lot of different ways to do that. Amazon gives you a lot of different tools. We utilize the brand stores quite a bit. We drive a lot of traffic there. We think that's a really great place to have it. And we have really great partners as well. Some of our licensed brands, they send a lot of great traffic to our site, to their own sites, B2C as well. But that's where we use a lot of the storytelling, and anything that we can tell in the story, from how this product will be important to the consumer in their own home, why it's important, but to telling our story about Durel Home, who, they probably haven't heard of. They've heard of our brands, but they've not heard of us. So it's really important for them to tell us we've been around for, decades. We test all of our products. We make sure everything that we give the consumer is on trend, high quality, high value. And it's affordable, and it's going to last you a long time. And if it doesn't, we have warranties and we'll take care of it. And we have a customer service line. Those sorts of things are so important to the consumer these days. And I think they've always been, but it's important to tell them. These are things that we don't want to take for granted, because not everybody out there is playing an even game. And that's something that's really important. And it's really important to our retailers that we're that kind of partner.
Yes. I mean, today you need to differentiate, right? And get to the root cause, maybe the actual DNA of a retailer of a brand, and trying to differentiate in the market. It doesn't matter the size of the brand, right? So
exactly.
And so how do you do that? I mean, do you create content or create videos, blogs, or what are the more of the earned media that you are you're doing?
All of it. I mean, the own content that we create is extremely important. Video is becoming more and more important every day, particularly if you can get great reviews and video reviews from the consumer. That really increases your visibility. It increases conversion, as we've seen quite a bit. And that's what we're excited to see, is that these stories and these keywords are driving the consumer to our page. But also it really helps to be able to get external influencers to pick up some of our product. I mean, we've seen some great, for our Costco brand, we've seen some HGTV picked up something on one of our shifters, and that was great. It wasn't something we pushed out, but when we, it drove a ton of organic traffic, and that was super excited. And we think it's because we had really great content around the brand. I mean, Costco is going to be 90 years old next year.
Yeah.
We've been around for, so long, and we're such an important brand to the consumer with high quality product, high safety standards. It's just one of those household names that's known. And that's what we're just showing how solid we are, that we've been around a long time. We continue to give great new innovation. We have new product out there that we've introduced, and to see them pick that up was really thrilling.
Yes. And how do you see, this omnichannel type of strategy, offline versus online? I mean, do you see new customers that you can engage with on the online side, or you're trying to migrate customers from offline to online, or try to leverage both, or beware of cannibalization of offline or online? So where are you in this big spectrum of strategies?
I mean, we're trying to do both, right? I mean, I think with our reach of stores and those retailers, that is by far and away our biggest reach. But it's really important that we tell the same story online and offline. And that's what we're looking for is, furniture is not an impulse purchase. There may be some pieces that you can see in a store and say, you know what, I could use a desk upgrade and it's under $100. I'll do that. But that's pretty rare. It's definitely a high consideration item. So it's important for us to be able to have the same experience e-commerce versus going in store. And if you want to go in store and see it and touch it and understand the true dimensions of how that would fit in your house, that's really important. It's also important if you can't get to a store, or that's not, where the consumer is looking, that your experience online, you have all the tools to be able to help them make that same decision. So a lot of the retailers that we work with have stepped up. They have, obviously great innovation online, some great AI going from a showrooming perspective, from being able to show something 360 in your room. You can take a picture.
Immersive type of.
That's super important for us.
Yes.
And, especially if you think about a college student that's going to be moving to their first apartment and they're not actually in that space yet, they have an idea of what that's going to look like, but something like this could be huge. So for us, we're really trying to utilize all the tools that we have in our belts, but also that the retailers are offering us.
And things like BOPIs and creating this offline online experience, buy online, pick up in store. I mean, are you implementing these type of strategies, or do you see some value into it? Yeah.
I think there's definitely value. It just, again, it's specific by retailer. For obviously Amazon isn't at that point yet. They have some new programs that are coming out that they can do that locally, and they're looking to get it in one day. So, those are things that we would definitely look to participate in a program of that sort. We think that would be very valuable to the consumer, especially, that example I just gave you. You just got to college and you realized, ooh, I didn't get this piece of furniture, or the one I got doesn't fit. I need a new one. That would be something that could be perfect for this. And, it's well within our range. It's just also making sure the cost makes sense, because being the fact that we are looking to stay affordable for the consumer, we want to make sure that we aren't outpricing ourselves by, white glove delivery. Like that's not really where our consumer would sit, but some of them may want this. So we want to make sure the option is there.
Yes. And speaking about retention versus acquisition, right? So, I mean, if someone is buying furniture, obviously is a candidate for additional purchases in the short term. Is it important to you? Are you what are your strategies for retention specifically?
Yeah, we can look at it several ways. So one of the ways we do look at it is bundling. So for us, we sell product for every single room in your house. We inside and outside, indoor furniture, outdoor furniture. So when you think about a product like beds is one of our top categories, as is mattresses. We like to offer bundles where you can get the bed with the mattress. That makes sense. The crib with the baby mattress. Very easy. Things like that. The retailers are great at partnering with us on bundling, getting promotions around that piece. But additionally for us, it's about, we sell to every room in the house. So you may buy something for your nursery, and that's where you get introduced to us as a brand, or multiple brands. You may buy a safety first mattress, but then you may decide to buy a dresser from a Merwood Home. and they all fit together and they all match. However, we just want to have that great quality and experience so they know they can come back and say, I'm going to need a new couch or sofa, or I'm looking for an outdoor conversation set. We can offer all that. And that's where we find brand stores really important for us and able to tie back to collections so that they can see, our suite of brands, where they can find it. And even if it's not on the retail they currently are at, we are at all the major retailers. So you can go and see, something that they may have that's unique to Walmart or unique to Target. They can find something there.
Yeah. So it seems that the partnerships activities as part of the business is very, very powerful, right? You mentioned, Amazon, Costco, very, very much. So how is it? What's the some of the best practices, or what are the ways? Is it, obviously there are meetings, but what are some of the tools or the data or the analytics tools that you implement, and how do you gather those insights and make ongoing decisions?
Yeah, I mean the most important thing for us is our partners, and it's being a good partner, servicing them with what they need. What their consumers are asking for, we need to fill that. That's our goal. And our goal is to, bring to the table new innovation that they potentially haven't thought of yet, or that the consumers aren't asking. We have to forecast these sort of things and anticipate what the consumer will need, and look at inspiration that we see out in the market and from our suppliers, and where, from our product development teams, where we think the next iteration or the next new idea or big category will be. That's the key that we can give to a lot of our big retailers. But also it's how can we service their consumer best? What are things that we can do that are different from other vendors? And because of our reach and our size, we can offer a lot, and we can offer a lot of great ideas, a lot of great solutions. Just even things like drop shipping from our own warehouses. Like, we were one of the first to do that with all of our major retailers, and building our warehouses where our major retailers wanted us to be, and while they felt like the most ideal location would be. Those are things we can do. And so, partnership is the number one thing for us across the board, to be a top vendor and make sure we're servicing their consumer. But we also want to make sure that we're giving them the best cost. So we really focus on ensuring we're giving them the best product, but they're getting a great cost so that they can keep the price down to the consumer. That's so important right now with everything that we've been experiencing with inflation, high gas prices. We need to show them that we hear the consumer, and that's super important.
Yes, and there will also feedback about future requirements, like product development, how product development works in your domain.
Yeah. I mean, we have a great product development team, and we have high talent there. It's a top focus for us, and that's really, I think, the key of staying in the business as long as we have, and staying in the game, and continuing to have bestsellers on all of our retailer websites. You can't do it without good product. It comes down to that. It has to be product the consumer wants, that resonates with them, that's on trend, that they love. And it has to be good quality. I mean, you can't buy a sofa or a mattress online and get it home and not have it be comfortable. Like, those are all the things that our product development team is nailing, and they're constantly looking for better and constantly looking for new partners who can deliver them even better innovation and sustainability and all of the things that are important to the consumer.
Yes, interesting. So I would like to jump maybe to the back end side of the business, and obviously supply chain, warehousing, shipping. We have the Red Sea blockage, right? So I mean, every time there is something new, right? And I know there is a lot of focus there, because every percentage of a change has a direct impact on cash flow and net profits. What are some of the things that you currently focus on in terms of, let's say, cost reduction or optimization of your supply chains and warehousing?
Yeah, I mean, for us, it's about optimizing and reducing freight. I mean, that's the biggest challenge for us. Is we're a high cube, low margin business, so we need to be as efficient as possible. So, one, we focus on making sure we get the most efficiencies out of our warehouse with the best lead times, and turning around orders, in less than 24 hours. That's really key for us, because that's really where conversion is the highest. And that's super important to all of our retailers and to our consumers, is getting the product in the time they want. But additionally, reducing how far we have to ship it. So optimizing where that inventory sits by warehouse, by coast, where it is in the center of the country. That's super important as well. And that has the most impact. So that's where we work most closely with our retailers to ensure that we're placing product in the right locations. And then additionally, looking at what's been happening with a lot of marketing prices out there, and prices have come down quite a bit for most furniture categories, which is a great thing. But we also need to make sure we're staying up to date on our supplier base and having the best cost. So in some cases, that may mean moving suppliers, moving countries of origin, and finding the best place to get a great cost. However, we also want to balance that with how quickly we can get the product. So it may make more sense in some cases to produce this product closer, because we need more continuous output. We need to make sure the consumer is able to get it all the time, and the retailers can stay in stock. So we try and balance that with them as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably a huge challenge with the number of SKUs out there and the different regions and 24 hours, like Q-commerce type of business, right? So I guess it's something that you monitor 24/7 and try to improve always. So definitely in this time, during 2024. I know you've been in the business for so many years, and I'm really interested in what are your thoughts on the new trends, maybe, or some interesting things that you see, maybe on the marketing side, on the industry, or supply chain.
Yeah.
What are some of the unique things that you see right now that are maybe opportunity, but also as a threat, right? That need to be prepared for?
I mean, I think obviously everyone's talking about AI, right? I mean, it's such an opportunity, and I think there's a lot of concern out there. It is a threat as well, and I understand that too. But the way that I look at this is it's only going to improve the consumer experience. I mean, things that we can do to improve how the consumer finds product, and especially on the e-commerce side, knowing that I'm working with Amazon every day, to be able to get my voice out there for my brand, it's just more and more of a challenge. So to me, I look at it as it's going to be much more of an opportunity than a threat. And additionally, if I look at it, how I can use it to improve the efficiencies of my team. I mean, e-commerce is just it's a very high data driven world, but it's also very high input. So it's a lot of work, right? It takes a lot to keep the lights on. And to me, if I can take some of this and automate it or use AI so that it can help it make smarter and quicker decisions and move the process sooner, then it frees my people up to actually think and become strategic and think about how we're going to tackle these bigger issues and spend more times on the relationships with our retailers. Like that would be huge. So for me, I see that as more of an opportunity than a threat.
Do you see something that is ready for prime time with AI these days? Like I
think for us, it's being slow and steady. Like we don't want to pull the trigger without fully understanding what it can do, because it could, have a negative impact. We have over 3,000 products on Amazon, for instance. Like I want to make sure if we're turning something on, it's, there's no risk there that content could all of a sudden be wrong or it's feeding something, so we're testing, we're in still the testing phases and trying a few things out. But so far what we've seen is really enlightening and exciting. And I think it's going to open up a lot of opportunities for us that we didn't consider before.
Got it. And Betsy, as a leader in the industry for many years, how do you see the future of work or staffing in the industry, in retail and e-commerce? With Gen Zs coming into the pictures, what do you think about the workforce in e-commerce and in retail?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to change, but it's just going to change what we're doing and how we're doing it. It's not going to change who is there. You're always going to need fresh eyes. You're always going to need to have a point of view on who the current consumer is. And that's never going to change. You're always going to want that. You're going to want that energy. You're going to need that hunger. And I think it's just, what I was doing when I entered and putting up racks of clothing and sorting samples and things like that may be a little different than what someone is coming into the market now. And it's obviously they have a laptop they're taking home. They're going to be using AI, and that would have blown my mind thinking about that 20 years ago. But it's still about getting in and working hard and learning from mentors and being around others. And I think the biggest shift that I would see is just the in-office versus remote. Things are shifting back to the office, and as I think they should. But it's it's definitely going to be a different kind of world, and they're going to have the ability to be in office and potentially be remote and have a lot more resources externally than we've had in the past. And I think that's only to everyone's advantage. You're just going to have a stronger workforce that's going to be, coming in much more ready for the world, with a lot more, I don't know, hopefully a lot more perspective and ideas that they can share up. And I'm hoping that our generation is a little bit more open to listen.
Yeah. We need to change as well, right?
Yeah. I mean, the world is so much faster now, and it's only going to get quicker and quicker. So we have to be able to adapt and listen and grow and move quick, because the next thing's coming. It'll be tomorrow.
Yeah, fast and agile, right? I mean,
exactly.
And hey, you're so optimistic. I mean, it's really nice.
Oh, thank you. Well, I try. Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things where retail is just, it can be a grind. And there are days where it's, you're scratching your head and thinking, what am I going to do about this? But you're never bored. We're never bored. There's always something going on. So never a dull moment.
So assuming other e-commerce leaders are listening to us, or maybe new professionals are joining the industry, what are some of the tips that you can share, from your experience in your career?
Absolutely. I think for me, I really learned a lot by listening and observing. By nature, I'm more on the shy side, and I really grew into loving presenting and getting up and presenting a line and telling that story and having that energy, but it took time. And for me, my biggest advice is to, obviously seek out advice, seek out mentors you respect, but get yourself in those rooms and listen and watch how the people that are successful, how they present, how they engage, the questions they ask, how they respond to the questions that are asked of them. To me, that I think is the most important, because yes, we can go out and listen to, every TED Talk out there and learn so much, but you really absorb so much more by seeing that back and forth in person. And I really encourage anyone starting out, especially, is to just give it a moment, listen, look around, see who are the right people to follow, see who's getting that engagement.
Yes. I mean, we are in an era of let's say, the economy that we really don't know how things will evolve, right? Yeah. No one can really tell. It's new. And I think you need to be very open-minded, very flexible and agile, and learn always new skill set in order to be relevant, right? So that's, I think it's quite becoming really fundamental for all of us. And Betsy, we're very interested in a fun fact about you. Something that most of your professional network are not aware of. So it can be anything.
Oh, yeah. I know it's always hard to find a fun fact about yourself, but one I always default to is I was born on St. Patrick's Day. So wow. I don't know. Is that I've always hoped that's a lucky thing. I mean, it's usually easy to find someone to get a cocktail with you on your birthday.
Okay, nice. So what it means to you, you feel lucky?
I mean, I hope so. I've had a really, I've been very lucky in most parts of my life. I'm very grateful. I've had a really great career, super lucky, a lot of great mentors. I mean, a lot of great people I've learned from. And the company I'm with, I mean, just not only a wonderful company, but just great people. So I think I've struck it pretty lucky.
Okay, great. Seems like it. Very, very nice. Betsy, anything else you want to add maybe or ask?
No, I mean, I think for me, it's just, I really appreciated being on this. I mean, my only question for you is what do you think is the next big thing that's either big or threat? Because I thought that was an amazing question, and I would love to hear what you think.
I mean, it's so easy to talk about AI, and obviously it's going to stay here, right? It's not going anywhere, but and it will improve dramatically, right? One of I've bet with some of our friends when we're going to see the first startup, which is $1 billion valuation, which has $1 billion valuation, but with one employee, right?
Wow.
What do you think?
I love that.
When do you think we'll see the first 1 billion startup that has one employee?
I mean, I think it could be in the next couple of years, easy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
Nice.
it's going to be that one idea that just explodes. And
Exactly. The responses are somewhere between 2 to 7, right? Years, I think
yeah,
maybe it's something in the middle. Yeah.
I'm with you.
It's
I think it's
very,
probably on the sooner.
I
That'd be
mean,
my
you
gamble.
look at the numbers also for e-commerce, they are growing, right? Everything that's, inflation, supply chain difficulties, acquisition,
Mhm.
but the numbers are growing. They're growing everywhere
Yep.
across the board. Again, from various reasons, it's really quite exciting, right, to see that. And I think we're in the right place. So definitely, again, Betsy, it was a pleasure hosting you here. Thank you
Thank
so
you
much
for
for your time.
having me. Thank you for having me. This is great. I really enjoyed it.
Great. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on this episode. Your support means the world to us. If today's episode has been insightful for you, consider sharing it with someone who would also benefit. Even one share can make a big difference. Looking to elevate your e-commerce game? Discover Vimy, a multi-channel e-commerce platform that will transform your business with the power of shoppable video. Visit us at vimy.net to learn more. It's Vimy, VIMMI.net. Thank you for being part of our journey. Stay tuned for more invaluable insights in our next episode.